Hey, welcome back to Two Super Guys Trade Stocks. I am Dylan.
And I'm Vinny.
And we're going to talk about a strategy that I think is going to net me 20% this year. I've already started, very excited about it. It is a wheel strategy with a twist. So we're going to take a look.
Two Super Guys Trade Stocks.
Are you familiar with the wheel strategy?
Yeah. I've used it to an extent before. It's interesting. It's a way to theta farm or collect the time decay of options value.
Yeah,
It's
so
an interesting idea.
it has a noticeable weakness, which is why I've never done it before. But this is a little bit of a unique opportunity. Just in case you don't know, I made this wheel because the other ones on Google Images sucked. But basically, you just sell a cash secured put on a, let's say Apple, whatever, at 160. You collect the premium. If it goes below 160, you get assigned, and then you sign covered calls at above whatever your buying price to make sure that you don't, get a giant negative whatever. And then as soon as you get assigned, you do puts, you just keep on going. But there is some obvious downsides to the wheel strategy. What's your obvious downside?
I mean, the big one is that you own a lot of risk, right? Because you have to put the cash out there for the strike price. All of a sudden, it comes out that like Steve Jobs has actually been selling like children on the internet or something like that. And in reality, he's still alive. Apple could be like 60 tomorrow, so now you have $100 per share loss on your contract. So you can end up eating a lot of risk there, and you're limited in terms of your gains too. On the other side, when you're selling the covered call, all of a sudden it comes out that like the Apple cured cancer with all their R&D budget. Now all of a sudden the stock is $260 per share. You lose out on all those massive gains.
Agreed. The biggest risk part is the fact that if I did a put at Apple on 160 and then they tanked and they're 60, my covered call Theta farm is going to be like a dime. Like I'm not going to get anything, right? So here's the interesting aspect. I am not doing this with the stock. I'm doing this with TLT, right? So just real quick, there are multiple things that affect the bond's price, the TLT 20 Treasury year bond price. Biggest one is this, right? So as interest rates go up, the price of the bond will go down and vice versa. So yields are opposite of prices. The other aspect of it, I'm not really worried about it going to zero because if it does, everything went to zero, right?
Yeah.
So the apocalypse happened.
Yeah. Long-term U.S. Treasury bonds have a significant discount. Literally, we're bartering with coins at that point.
You're lighting money on fire to keep warm at that point. So it doesn't really matter. They have a AAA rating, so I'm not worried about that. On top of that, I've shown this before. All right, we know that in the next year, if we are going to go up in interest rates, it's going to be 1/4 of a point. We've done multiple videos with Jerome Powell and all of them thinking, hey, we're either at the peak or we might go up a little bit more. You can see this is a decade-long chart. We have not been below 109 for quite some time, right? Yeah. And when we are, we usually come right up to it again. These yellow lines are interest rates. Okay, so every single time there's an interest rate hike, you can see that it started this downtrend. It's been pushing us down lower, but we've been kind of consolidating here. Mm-hmm. This blue line's a 200 moving average. This gray is the 100 moving average. You can see it kind of bounces between 103 and 107 for the last month and a half, right?
Yeah.
So I've been doing 105, right? Because I'm not gonna lie, I kind of want to get assigned on some of them, right? So I bought 200 shares of TLT outside of the strategy, all right? Because there's very few things where I could say, yeah, I could probably get 15 to 20% this year as gains because it's very realistic that TLT goes up as interest rates stay the same or go down. Most stocks, we think Apple's going to be great, but I don't know that. Like, I can't remember the company. The CEO came out and got caught with cocaine and just lost like 10% market share. I don't remember the name of the company, but not good. No risk here. This is the U.S. 20-year Treasury, the percent interest rate that we've been going up. You can see that this is the all-time since they reissued the bonds. But basically, we can't stay here forever. So as interest rates come down, TLT goes up.
Yeah, I mean, definitely an interesting trade. Did you so you say you expect about 20% per year, and is that just assuming just from theta decay?
So I already got 1.7% in 3 weeks,
Nice.
right?
Okay.
Yeah, that part's dope. So here's the thing. I'm doing very, very risky, what would be considered risky puts, because TLT cannot stay at this price. It has to go up from where it's at, right?
Yeah.
And there's not a lot of investments where you could be like, hey, I know it has to go up from here. You could think logically it has to, but we can't stay at 5% interest forever. More banks will close. Like we can't, it just can't happen. So it's a unique investment to where I'm getting more money on the puts than I'm on the covered calls. The covered calls, I'm going to take less. I got like $50 on the covered call. I got $200 for a put, right?
Nice.
So I sold it at 105 when it was 104.
Okay. Oh yeah, I like it. So you still a little bit of the money. You're basically trying to buy it at a discount at that point.
Pretty much, yeah. But I also, I kind of want to get assigned. So we're chilling at about 104.50 right now. If this happens again, then I'm just going to do a put at 106 or 107. Because the further we get into summer, the higher it should go. So I don't think I'll get 1.7% every 3 weeks. That's not realistic. That's insane.
No.
But I could front load this pretty heavy with puts, cash secured puts.
I like it.
Sexy?
Yeah, I like it. It's an interesting trade on like a different product, and it's one you made a lot of money on going the other way. And we definitely have a great indicator, and if Powell is a man of his word, to be believed that interest rates can remain in this elevated environment for at least till the end of the year, and then maybe 2024 as we start seeing this kind of price dropping. You can collect a lot of theta along the way. Then next year, hopefully, you'll be able to open up your covered calls a little bit and get a little bit more appreciation on the TLT itself.
Yeah, honestly, I think when it starts going up is when I'm going to fail at the covered calls, because it can go up quite quickly. We saw on that chart, it's not below 109 for some time. And also, the interesting thing about that chart, that's 10 years. That does not take into account inflation, right? So when we're below that 109 line, that was not the same as when we were below 109 in 2012. So we're quite extended to the downside. We can't really go much lower than $90, which is the low. It's pretty interesting because I have 200 shares just of that in general, because there's no stock where I could be like, hey, it has to go up this percentage in a year and a half. I feel like this is an underappreciated investment right now. Not just the wheel strategy, but TLT.
Yeah. TLT, I would agree. The interesting thing to do from a technical standpoint, because I know you come from more of the swing trader environment, but looking at the moving averages, the way they're kind of converging and now sliding beneath the price, you're setting up to build like a nice kind of stable there once they realign to have like a nice expansionary period again.
Yeah, and if you do, for instance, let's say we're at 105 in May 26, right? And I got to do more puts. If we have broken out of that little thing, I can just do 3 weeks and do 108. And do cash secured puts 300 in the money, and it will a decent sized chance of being above that. But I'm still below that 109 gap where I know that it should be higher than that in a year.
Nice. I like it.
Yeah. Pretty
sexy,
dope.
man. Wow, it'll be interesting to follow this one along.
Yeah. I'll do like a monthly update. All right, guys.
Yeah. See you next one.